the way to do this, because I get some questions about this, because obviously these have become a bigger deal in the last 2 years,
Yes.
going on 3 now, than they were for a long time. What's going on with these? Where did these come from? How did this start? Well, it started long before even me, your resident fossil. I first started seeing Times, all metro, all area teams in the early 1970s. I can tell you that 1968, 1969, this area was growing like crazy. We went from 1 public high school to 2 public high schools. St. Cloud Apollo opened up, and then we had Sartell open up, and Sauk Rapids continued to grow, and St. Cloud Cathedral. And by the early 1970s, they started doing all area football. It was all metro football and basketball and baseball teams. By the mid 70s, they started doing all metro and all area, and obviously started picking up girls sports 77, 78, 79. It wasn't right away, but it was soon after that. Then they hired this smart aleck from South St. Paul, and he said, you know, instead of having all metro and all area, you should really have it Class AA and Class A, because they're 2 different levels. And then at that time in Minnesota, we had 2 classes pretty much from the start of the 1970s until the early to mid 90s. We were a 2-class state. Everything was 2 classes except for football and hockey and a few other things.
Yeah, hockey was 1 class.
And football was many classes, even in the
Yes.
olden days.
Well,
We used to have Class C and Class B and Class C. We don't have any of that anymore. But so then for a while, we were doing AA and A, because we just thought it was an easier way to judge kids, because what was going on in A was very different than what was going on in AA. And then, oh gosh, somewhere, I want to say 87, 88, we said, and this was by decree of the sports editor at the time, probably from some input from his superiors, Mr. Dave Deland. I'm sure Dave is watching this. I'm sure he is. Hi, Dave. So we went to 1 class, and so we've been a 1 all-area team where we didn't differentiate between metro and out of the metro, and we didn't differentiate between big school and small school, and we've been 1 for, oh my gosh,
30-something.
Yeah, around 30 years now. And so what happened then is we slowly started adding teams to the mix. You know, hockey came on in the early 80s, and the first one that didn't, we had, you know, volleyball, football, boys and girls basketball, just boys hockey for a while,
Yep.
and softball and baseball. And the first one that came on that didn't fit that pattern, we had Jeff Kellerman from Sartell and Mark Alcorn from Holdingford in the mid-90s said, you guys should do all area cross country. And Mr. Deland said, I don't care as long as I don't have to do anything. So we said, yeah, you guys come up with an all area team and we'll go with it. And oh gosh, it's been 5, 6, 7 years ago. We got him more involved with that. Mark's now retired from cross country, although a great coach still. And Jeff Carrollman's still a part of it, as long as a number of area coaches. And we get together and we pick the whole team. We eat at a local restaurant where you can get pancakes. That's all I'll say. And then
It narrows the field.
yeah. Although a lot of places have pancakes.
Well,
but anyway, and I've never ordered pancakes once since we had this meeting.
Anyway.
But so anyway, so that one got it. and we picked up girls hockey along the way. We started doing soccer teams as more soccer teams came on.
Girls hockey, I think, was about 99. I think I did the first one, and it was
the goalie from River Lakes,
who is now assistant women's hockey coach down at Minnesota State Mankato. She was
she was an All-American.
She was an All-American for the Mavericks, and so she was actually our first. Anyway, just since we're going down memory lane,
we need to.
I remember doing the first one, and she was our first area player of the year, and I distinctly remember her telling me about how there was a mural at, I think it's either in the Painesville or the Cold Spring Arena or whatever, even where she was. Yeah, she was featured on the mural on the wall or whatever. So we had a picture of Sherry with the mural on the wall.
And quite honestly, I don't know if we've had a better goaltender than her, and she was the first one.
Yeah,
which is interesting because we've had a lot of good goaltenders. We've had Division I goaltenders, but she probably is as good as any goaltender I've seen.
Yep.
In this world that we call the Times area. But anyway, so we start adding teams on here and there. 3 years ago, 2014, we had a change in regimes. Do you remember this?
Yes.
A couple things happened coincidentally. One was I had enough votes to start all area teams for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Part B, we had a publisher who was willing to listen and wanted to do something to make a big splash in the spring, or it was actually in the summer, in June, right after
the spring sports.
Yeah, and so we created something called, we're calling it Times Media Central Minnesota Sports Awards.
Yeah.
We've had 2 of them now. It happens in mid-June. The first year, Eric Decker was our featured guest. Jesse James, his wife, was there in attendance, and it went pretty well. And I frankly had no idea whether we'd ever do one again, whether people would throw rotten tomatoes and rotten eggs at me. And
instead, it was mostly hearing praise from people that they thought it was a first-class thing and that they enjoyed it. And
I can literally remember being on the stage feeling like someone had stuffed a sock down my throat when I went up there with Decker. So, and I usually don't get too nervous, especially when it's a topic it's a topic that, it's been part of my life for 40 years. So that one went well. And so last year we did it again, the College of St. Benedict, and I thought we hit another home run.
I think we sold the place out.
Yep, we sold the place out. Adam Thielen, what good timing.
Yeah, it was outstanding timing.
He's having his career year. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. And a story a lot like Eric Decker, just without the U of M scholarship. Not highly recruited out of high school, not thought to be a pro prospect necessarily in football, and ended up, he's now one of the best around.
What was the story you told that he was all set to go Division III. I think it was Concordia was looking at him, and then all of a sudden Mankato, they saw him at the All-Star football game.
Yeah.
And I think he's told you that they offered him like $500 or something like
Which
that.
was $500 more than anybody else had offered him.
And so he ends up going down
All-American down there. Yeah. Doesn't get drafted, of course, because he's Division II.
Yeah.
Makes the Vikings give him a tryout, and they feel highly enough about him to put him on a practice squad and play some special teams, gets in here and there, but not very much. And then 2 years ago, all of a sudden, we start seeing him on the field all the time. Last year, he had his best year. He was the Vikings' leading receiver. This year, he's one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
Cool story.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got all area teams for everything now, almost. The only one I know that we could add that we haven't added that we're on the cusp of adding would be lacrosse, and we're looking for one or two more teams in boys and girls lacrosse in the area in order to have enough teams in order for us to pick an all-area team. But basically, we're doing all-area everything nowadays.
Well, the other one that we've talked about that I don't know.
Did I miss one?
Trap shooting. We've kind of talked about it. I don't know where we're at with that. But anyway, we are talking about it. There has been conversations about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just a matter of can we get to it, whatever.
So anyway, the whole goal here now is we pick these teams. We make a lot bigger deal about it than we used to even 5 years ago.
Yep.
And we're planning on having a big sports awards show sometime in mid-June. The details have not been finalized. Who the guest is has not been finalized.
Where?
Well, yeah, even where is not completely finalized. And all I know is I suspect, unless something weird happens, that Mick and I will be a part of it.
Yeah. Until further notice.
When Sports Illustrated calls and hires Mick to be the hockey writer, I might have to work with a new sidekick. But
anyway,
why are you laughing?
I'd be surprised if I get that call. But let's move on to the teams that we've looked at.
Yeah, we're going to move on here. So the first one we did, and this ended up in Mick Hatton's lap this year, was the Times 2017 All-Area Girls Tennis Team. We're going to have 3 finalists for Athlete of the Year in girls tennis. Why don't you talk about them? All 3 of those get invited, and one of them will be named in June at that sports award show that we haven't decided all the details out of yet.
Yeah, one of the top 3 will be the Player of the Year. The 3 finalists are Caitlin Tiroli, the St. Cloud Tech senior, 167 career wins, was in on 28 wins individually between singles and doubles played. She played mostly number 1 singles for Tech, and then with her sister Ashley, they made it to the state semifinals in the doubles tournament. And so Caitlin's one of the finalists. If I remember correctly, Caitlin was a finalist last year. Her older sister ended up being our Player of the Year. Another finalist is Ashley Tiroli, freshman from Tech, Caitlin's younger sister. 34-5 as the number 2 singles player, won 30 straight matches at one point. Has 94 career wins already. Had a great season, and once again went to the state doubles tournament. Her and her sister were the number 1 seed actually going into the state doubles tournament this year.
And if Case Tiroli sounds familiar, their sister Taylor, who now attends the University of Minnesota, was our girls tennis athlete of the year the last 2 years, 2015 and 16. And in case you think, well, eventually this line's going to end, they have another sister coming up.
Another younger sister. So our other finalist is now help me with her last name, Tom. Is it Peyton Copel? Copel, okay. Sophomore from Foley, was 19-1 during the regular season. Played almost exclusively number 1 singles for Foley. Foley's typically been one of our top teams in Class A throughout several seasons. 44-17. Actually, but Foley ended up moving up to Class AA this season. So if you're wondering, okay, well, why wasn't Foley at the state meet? That was part of the deal. Was they ended up moving up a class.
I don't know exactly what the cutoff is. It must
either.
be right around 500 because that's about how many kids Foley has.
Yeah. So those are our 3 finalists: Caitlin Tiroli, Ashley Tiroli, and Peyton Copel. And then the other players that were named to the team were Kate Inderreeden, a sophomore from Tech. She's played on 4 straight state tournament teams. 26-7 this season. Played number 2 and number 3 singles for Tech. Bryn Sauer, Rocori senior. She's made the team, I want to say 3 years, but it might only be the last 2. But anyway, Bryn had 60 career wins. So she set the school record for most career wins at Rocori. Daughter of former Viking and NFL Sartell great.
Times Player of the Year in football, Craig Sauer. Yeah.
And then our other 2 players were the number 1 doubles team at Tech. It was Rebecca Zwiner, a senior, and Ann Bowe, a junior at Tech. Rebecca had her hand in 94 career wins. Once again, they were the number 1 doubles team for Tech. They made 2 straight state tournaments. Ann has 82 career wins going into her senior season. So a little bit Tech dominated, but the other side of that though is that Tech made it all the way to the state championship in Class 2A, and you just don't see that very often. They only lost 2 times, and both times were the Dinah, who ended up being the state champions.
And totally dominant this year.
Yeah,
in the area. Nobody was close.
Yeah.
Their best matches all year were when they scheduled some of those powers from Rochester and the Twin Cities.
Minnetonka.
Dinah.
Yep. So there you go. There's your girls all area tennis team.
Well, I'm next on the line.
Yes.
Girls cross country. This is kind of the granddaddy of the non-big picture ones.
Yeah.
I'm told by Mark Alcorn that the first all-area boys and girls cross-country teams were in 1996. I know that I have done the research going back to 98, and it's quite an impressive list. And the girls team is going to have an impressive runner of the year this year as well. The 3 finalists are first Ingrid Busiag-Arama.
Nice.
I'm sorry, Ingrid, I probably mixed it up. She's a 9th grader at Sartell. She was the Sabres' top runner all year long. She took 3rd place in the Central Lakes Conference Championships, earning her 3rd straight all-conference award as a 9th grader now. So she was all-conference as an 8th and 7th grader. She was 2nd in the Section 8-2A championships up in Fergus Falls. She's a 3-time state Class 2A entrant. She took 30th this year at the state meet. And she had a season best time of 18:54. That was run at the St. Cloud Tech Invitational. Her state meet time was 19 minutes 1 second. Also a finalist for Runner of the Year is Allison Hendrickson. She's a senior from Becker. Our 3rd finalist is a 9th grader from Albany, Christine Kaltoff. She's already won 3 varsity letters. She took 2nd to Allison Hendrickson at the Granite Ridge Conference Championships. She finished 3rd in Section 6A. She's a 3-time state Class A meet participant. She finished 25th this season, which gets you all state honors, in a season best time in 1935. Those are the big 3.
Interesting. So those are all 3 runners that could be back next year, right?
No, Allison's a senior.
Allison's a senior. Okay, so then the other 2.
Yeah, Ingrid and Christine, they're really dedicated, good kids. We're gonna hear a lot about them in the cross country world over the next 3 years at least, because they're both going to be dominant kids. More than likely, if they stay healthy, they keep working, all the usual check mark things. Rest of the team includes Ricori 9th grader Melanie Ilias, Ricori sophomore Carly Kramer, Eden Valley Watkins Kimball sophomore Olivia Keekley. She was the lead runner on a state tournament or state meet team. The Eden Valley Watkins Kimball competed in the Class A state team meet. And then Grace Reeland, she's a 9th grader from Albany as well, and kind of Christine Kaltoff's sidekick. Be interesting. The only thing I can tell you is we will not have a Kimball Eden Valley Watkins runner of the year this year in girls. Last year was Anna Dene, last 2 years, and before that was her sister Emily Dene. So we haven't had a Sartell kid since Heidi Peterson in 2009. We haven't had an Albany kid since Rachel Stangler in 2002. She was a great athlete as well. And we have, since 1998, we've never had a Becker runner of the year. But those 3 are the finalists, and looking forward to seeing what they can pull off in the future as well,
yes.
At least a couple of them.
Yeah.
We move to boys cross country.
Same vein, same writer.
You should write about cross country. I didn't know you ran about it. I was one of those dumb jocks that it had to have a football or a ball in front of me in order to get me to run to do anything. Mm-hmm. but to me, like, running was punishment. But that tells you all you need to know about my athletic career.
That's why I've always liked going to cross-country meets. But anyway, continue on.
Okay, the boys cross country, the 3 finalists are Ryan Fernholz, he's a senior from Sartell. Alex Nemeth, he's a junior from Sartell. And Sam Ringer, a junior from Sauk Rapids. First of all, it was a huge year for Sartell boys cross country this year. Went to the state tournament for the second year in a row. They ended up getting 4 of the top 7 runners this year. They were the dominant team in our Times area, and it's reflected by this team. I don't know if I can ever. Maybe Cathedral might have pulled it off once where they had 4 of the 7, but it has not happened very often if it has happened. Anyway, Fernholz is a 6-time letter winner. He was a team captain. He ran a season best down at the state meet at St. Olaf of 16 minutes, 19 seconds. He earned all conference Central Lakes for the 4th straight year. He took 3rd at the Central Lakes meet. He was 10th in the Section 828 championships. He's a 4-time state meet participant, and he finished 39th this season. He was also on his 3rd all-area team, and a pretty cool kid, and very, very noteworthy. Alex Nemeth, he pretty much was Sartell's #1 runner most of the year. He ran a season best time of 16:10 at the state meet. He was 4th in the Central Lakes meet, earning all conference honors for the 3rd time. He's a 2-time state class 2A state meet participant, and he took 29th at the state meet. He's also academic all-state selection, and he's making his 2nd appearance on the first team all-area team.
And his grandpa was my orthodontist.
Oh, really? Well, I think his dad's in the business too, isn't he?
Yeah, his dad is going to be my son's orthodontist. So. Anyway, there
smile, smile, Mick. See, look at those good teeth.
Good teeth, yeah.
You're turning red. You're blushing.
I'm sure I am.
Okay. Sam Ringer from Sauk Rapids. He's in his 4th year at cross country as a junior. He's won 3 varsity letters. His best time of the season was at the Litchfield Invitational. That was a 16:09. He took 5th in the Central Lakes Conference meet, earning all conference for the 2nd time. He finished 30th place at the state meet this year, 16:12. It's his 2nd appearance on the all-area team. Wrote about him a little bit this year. He's had some personal adversity. His mom had a lot of health problems and died after heart surgery last spring. Really dedicated, competitive kid.
16:12 was flying. I mean, that's a good time down there.
Yeah, well, he had a 16:09 in Litchfield.
That's picking him up and laying them down.
He would be the first Sauk Rapids kid to be our runner of the year since 2001. We had a gentleman named Nathan Haney who was our runner of the year in 2001. Sartell hasn't had a runner of the year in our area since 2011. That was Tyler Broadwell. That one was fairly controversial because we also had the outstanding Charlie Lawrence, who runs cross country at the University of Minnesota, and Charlie ended up winning the all-area runner of the year in 2012, the next year. Also on this team, we've got Sartell senior Nick Juntanen, Ricori senior Brent Heinen, and Sartell senior Patrick Hess, as well as Piers junior Jake Andres. Like we said, one of those big 3 will be announced in June. It won't be a Little Falls guy. Tyler Moore won it the last 3 years. Tyler's now running cross country at the University of Mississippi.
Yes.
Go ahead.
If you've ever met Tyler and you don't like Tyler, I'd be surprised. I mean,
yeah, he's hilarious.
I've never met anybody who didn't like Tyler. Anyway.
He's a great person. He wrote this wonderful thank you note after he was named our runner of the year last year, and he's just a cool person, and wish him nothing but the best. Nick Golubiowski from Cathedral from a couple years ago is running at Georgetown. We got several Division I cross country runners. And
Ryan Ford from Apollo ran at University of Minnesota.
Charlie Lawrence.
Charlie Lawrence is a captain on the cross country team at Minnesota. So we've had some awfully good cross country runners.
With that, we're going to flip the page.
Yeah, girls soccer.
Here, watch, guys.
Girls soccer is the most recent one that we've had.
No.
We got three finalists. Three finalists for Player of the Year are Jessica Tim Payne, a junior from Apollo. She made the All-State second team. Had 8 goals and 9 assists as a midfielder for the Eagles. Brooke Walters, a junior from Sartell, All-State first team midfielder. I believe has been on the last 2 all-area girls hockey teams. She was a finalist for Girls Hockey Player of the Year last season as well. Lizzie Minerath, she was a finalist for the Player of the Year last year as well. Sartell senior, all-state second team for the second straight year. Played defender for Sartell, a team that only gave up 18 goals in 19 matches, so kind of a very key player. Obviously, her older sister is Claire Minerath, who was our two-time. She was our girls athlete of the year 2 years ago.
Yes, she was for all sports.
Right, for all sports, because she was the soccer player. Yep. She was our soccer player of the year, and she was our girls hockey player of the year that year.
And we were talking about Division I goaltenders. That's what.
Yeah, Providence, I think. If I remember right.
No.
It's out east.
Oh, it's not Bemidji?
No, I think she's out east. I think she's at Providence.
Oh, I've got Dieters going.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yes.
Dieters and Minerath. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Other players that made the team. Tony Baines, the junior goalkeeper from Cathedral. Cathedral and Sartell made it the farthest out of all of our area teams. They both made the section 8A semifinals. Mm-hmm. Sartell had a great season this season. And so did Cathedral. Cathedral kind of came on as the season went on. Tony had 8 shutouts, 0.58 goals against, so she had a great season for them. Maddie Chop, a senior from Cathedral, senior midfielder, 10 goals, 9 assists for the Crusaders, so one of their top scorers. Jenna Ives, a Sartell junior forward, she led the Sabres with 11 goals. She's on the team. Bryn Hoffman, senior midfielder from Tech, 6 goals, 5 assists. Kind of a fun stat that their coach threw in there was that she had her hand in like 22% of the team's goals, so that's pretty significant on one player. Ashley Kemp, a junior forward from Apollo, 9 goals, 10 assists. She's a repeat all-area player. Had helped Apollo make the state tournament the season before this. Emma Plemmel, also a returner to the all-area team, senior sophomore from Sauk Rapids, center midfielder, 8 goals this season, 8 goals, 4 assists. Lauren Sticka from Becker, a junior midfielder, had 19 goals, led the area in assists with 36. Her coach says that she's the state leader in career assists with 69. And then Cathedral junior forward Annika Worth led the Crusaders in goals with 16, and she's also on the team. So pretty talented group, and there were some tough choices, as Tom knows. I mean, I think people think that none of these are ever easy choices. I mean, there's a lot of back and forth that you go through, and we do our best. Do we always get it right? Not always, but we certainly do our best to try and get recognition for all the top athletes in the area.
Appreciate your good work on the all-area girls soccer team that Mick ended up compiling, although I did have a little bit of input. Jessica Timpane, Brooke Walters, and Lizzie Minerath, they're the 3 finalists. One of them will be named our Girls Soccer Player of the Year. That'll come in June. Appreciate all your time spending with us. We're the SCTimes Sports Report. I'm Tom Elliott.
McHatton.
This is Mick Hatton, and thanks to Christopher Beeth, our producer behind the scenes. And we'll see you next week at 2 o'clock Thursday. Thanks a lot.